Mr. Terry Nikas of Scar of the Sun, welcome to Linear Rock.
Thank you very much. Good evening from Athens, Greece.
Great, so great to have you. So Scar of the Sun is a Greek modern melodic groove metal outfit from Athens, as you said, and you're active since 2004. Tonight we present your third album, Inertia, out May 14 on Napalm Records. You are the singer, composer, producer. You're the mastermind behind the band, let's say. So Terry defines Terry like, as a tyrant, a dictator, or you are a democratic boss. And is this control that you keep, a matter of hyperactivity and a desire, to get involved on several levels for the band, or you don't trust anyone and, it's like a matter of if you want something done good, do it yourself. What would you say?
First of all, we are a completely democratic band. It's just that in every band there is one person that is the leader, and in this case, it's me because I also started the band back in 2004, 2005. The reason why I also mixed the album is that this is my actual job. I'm a sound engineer. I have a recording studio in Athens, Greece, but I also work with bands on shows and on tours. So, it was in a way obvious and normal that I would record and mix this album, But the band, I can assure you that it's completely democratic and everybody has their own role in the band, and I'm very happy with that.
But I read that you're the main composer in the band. So at which point does the rest of the band get into the writing process? They just work on your ideas, or everybody actually is active composition-wise?
I would have to say that I used to be the main composer, especially on the first album. I composed 70% of the music approximately, and all obviously the vocal lines and the lyrics. But eventually when we got a stable lineup about 11 years ago, we had a contribution in composition from the two guitarists and myself. And especially the new album, in the new album, I didn't have the time to compose music. So mainly our guitarist Greg composed the album, and we have a song from the other guitarist Alexi. Obviously, as always, I composed all the vocal lines and the lyrics, and then I did the production as well. So, I would say that the compositions of the band, the songs of the band, are 1/3 each, the two guitarists and me.
And then you arrange, with the whole band, or
yes.
Actually, okay, so that's a process
But
of...
When I'm talking about all five of us having specific duties, is that the other guys are doing other stuff as well. For example, one of the guitarists is taking care of all our social media and the internet presence. Our drummer is dealing with all the merch, and when we're touring, is arranging stuff. So there are things for everybody, really.
Yeah.
I just happen to do the management of the band and the production anymore.
Yeah, you're from Athens, but you formed in London. Is it true, actually, this story? What's the story behind this, and what bands actually much influenced you in the early days? And are the same bands that actually still influence you nowadays?
The band started indeed in London back in 2004, 2005, when I was a university student and I was studying sound engineering. At the time, it was 3 Greeks, very good friends in London, that we started the band. It was just 3 of us. And as I said to you before, it wasn't a proper band still, at the time. And the main two bands I would say that influenced us in order to compose music in the beginning was bands like Orphaned Land and a British band called Funeral for a Friend. We like these bands very much because they incorporated many different metal elements, in their music. So we always wanted to have music that is multidimensional and not only one thing. We still like these bands very much, but we moved quite a bit from these bands, especially on the last album.
So
I don't know if you want me to tell you which bands are the influence now, but up to you.
But actually, the story. I mean, you were 3 students, and you met actually there, or you were friends before? And how the idea of the band came about?
One of the guys I was playing in another band before with him, the guitarist, and the other guy I met him at the university in England. So this guy was the original drummer, and he's the guy that did the video you just saw, Inertia, and he's the person that does all our visuals. In a way, he's the 6th member of the band.
Okay.
And he's my best friend.
You deliver an aggressive and heavy sound, very much focused on details. A certain atmosphere underlies, your compositions, turning them into proper musical journeys. How much of this approach is planned in a sense because you want it to be like that, and how much is it pure instinct in your intentions and it comes, naturally to be like that, to focus on details?
To be honest with you, in a way, it comes naturally to us because more or less is what we listen. We listen to many different kinds of metal and different kinds of music as well. So to be honest with you, it's what we're trying to do is to make more to make less complex songs anymore, because in the beginning the songs were even more complex, and they had even more influences and elements in there. But this third album is a bit more simple, I would say, in comparison to the first 2 albums. And this also came naturally because, we did it for 2 albums and we just wanted to do something a little bit different, because you have to change in order to feel things more interesting. So I would say that mainly it came naturally, but in a way also we planned it. It's a combination of things.
Okay.
We said, okay, we had enough of this. Let's make something more direct,
There's a strong emotion behind these new songs, agony into words and, a sense of despair into the music. As the main composer, especially of the lyrics, as you said, that remains your role. Is this also like a cathartic method, a cathartic process for you to be so emotional writing the lyrics?
Absolutely. It's... these are things that bother me, and these are things that actually I face in my everyday life, So unfortunately, the negative things are the ones that making me write about. Obviously, it's not easy to write about very happy stuff, The negative stuff have more impact in every person's mental situation. So I'm trying to take things out of my chest and keep calm by writing about that in the songs, because when we are playing live and I can scream and shout about these things, I feel relieved afterwards. And and this keeps the balance for me, But you're absolutely right.
Now we're going to see the I Am the Circle video, a song which is about, not compromise attitude and about the toughest aspects of being a musician. Was this song inspired by a specific story, or it's a general reflection, on the life of the musician?
This song actually talks about all the emotions we got from all the rejections we had so far in our lives as musicians, because you see us now signed to Napalm Records, but in order to reach Napalm Records, even Napalm Records rejected us in the past 2 times. So 2 times, yes. So someone will say, this band is in Napalm Records and they're singing about that. You can't imagine how many rejections we got so far. And all these rejections, they have an impact on us, and especially when we are working very hard and we present something very serious, and then you see that they don't give you the chance, they don't give you the opportunity to reach a better level and have better conditions for your music. Honestly, many times it felt like I had a death in the family. Somebody died, and when this happens so many times, it leaves some scars. So this song talks about that, all the rejections we had all these years and all the emotions we got out of it.
I hear some Swedish influences in your music. And also I wanted to ask you, how is the Greek metal scene currently? There's a lot of bands, and mainly you actually get influenced by other countries' metal, or there's a Greek way to make metal?
First of all, for sure, one of the main influences we have as a band is Swedish death metal.
Okay.
But the second also very important influence is American metalcore. So I would say I Am the Circle is closer to American metalcore, and Inertia is closer to Swedish death metal. In Greece, we have a huge metal scene, really. And I can assure you that there are many, many good bands, and more good bands than the ones that people know and they already have a career in not only in Europe, but also, in the whole world. The problem with the Greek bands is that, this is something that also Italian bands have, is that the main labels find it difficult to sign bands from Greece. At least this was what happening up until a couple of years ago. So when you don't have the support of a serious label next to you, eventually you will stop doing this thing, in a very high level. You will have to do some things for your everyday life and, work.
Yeah.
It's not everybody that has the ability to and the strength to do all the sacrifices that are needed in order to do a proper career.
Sure.
Now, Greece is very famous for the black metal scene, and this you can say that this is more or less the Greek sound. We are not very close to that stuff. We're listening to other more modern stuff. But obviously, we like many bands that created this black metal scene. Obviously, the Mighty Rotting Christ, it's a band that we all love. And we had also the opportunity to open for them. It was the last show before COVID. It was a direct support to Rotting Christ.
Yeah.
So, mainly in Greece, you will have extreme metal bands, death metal bands and black metal bands, but also a lot of traditional heavy metal and power metal bands. We are an exception, to be honest.
Okay. The scar is associated with something deep, a strong mark. On the other hand, the sun is the symbol of light, rebirth, positivity. Such a particular combination in the name of your band. What's the story behind the choice? Since you formed the band, so I guess you chose the name. Tell us about it.
This is true. I came up with the name, and it's also a name that has a meaning, and it's not just that I choose, some words that sound nice together. The band, when it was formed, the main reason why I formed this band was also, in order to take a serious, pain and personal problem that I had out of my chest. A problem that caused me, for 4 years to be, in a very, very bad mood, extremely bad mood. Okay. And the band helped me get out of it alive, if you want,
Okay.
It was the case of a personal loss that took a few years to heal. And so that is the scar. Mm-hmm. And the sun is related to the name of the person that I lost. So,
okay.
So, it's an actual name that is 100% true story, and it's not just a fictional, case.
On Inertia, you use scientific terminology to express difficult trials and social awareness, lyrically, reflecting on society's heaviest burdens, which now are even tougher. Did the COVID situation some way stimulate extra thoughts, for the lyrics, since we are really living, a very, very tough situation, or everything was worked, before that?
Everything was finished before COVID. So this album is not related to what happened to the whole world during the last year and a half. Someone can find relations to this, but the main concept of the album has to do with the financial crisis that we had in Greece. And it was something that it was extremely tough for us. It's not, that it was something that we just saw on television, etc. Our whole lives was affected, and most of the people, unfortunately, cannot realize what happened in Greece. Many people thought that, lazy Greeks, they're just getting Europe's money, and this is not true at all. Of course, we had corrupted politicians, and they did a very, very bad job for 40 years, and after all these years, somebody sent the bill to common people, which was completely unfair. We had 80-year-old people searching in garbage to find something to eat. And personally, as a citizen of the earth on 2021, I don't accept. And this is the main concept that Inertia talks about.
As you said, that was really a bad situation, especially Quantum Leap Zero trilogy actually conveys, these very intense and dramatic events that occurred in Greece in 2015. Did you ever think about leaving your country back then while you were living that huge crisis, since you're still in an age, that you can maybe look for fortune outside, or you wanted to stay there and fight for your country and for, not for even a moment you actually thought about leaving it?
First of all, I will have to tell you that the whole crisis was lasted for 10 years, and 2015 and the Quantum Leap Zero trilogy talks about a very special moment that the whole thing turned finally, So just to make a note, in 2015, we had for the first time the first good government in Greece. So what happened, and I'm not supporting it, but I have to admit that this is the only government we had for all the years I lived here that actually worked properly.
Yeah.
So I lived outside of Greece for 10 years. So I was ready to leave the country any moment it would be needed. But I choose to stay here and fight, first of all, because I started my studio just a year before the crisis started. So I had to fight for my own business, you know. And then I had also the band that I knew that if I leave the country, I will have to start from zero, and that this was something that I didn't want to do. You know, many people asked me, why didn't you leave? Because you lived in England, you lived in Italy. Why didn't you leave again? And I was like, what you exactly said. You know, I felt that I have to stay in my country and fight for it. I understand that many people left Greece in order to make a living, but my personal opinion was, you know, that I had to stay here and fight for my country. You know, this was my choice.
Great choice, by the way. Inertia is mastered by the legendary Jens Bogren, which worked, you know, with Opeth, Catatonia, Dimmu Borgir, and he worked at the Fascination Street Studios in Sweden. What's, you know, his touch, his added value to these songs and to the sound of Scar of the Sun? What would you say?
I met Jens through my work with Septic Flesh. For the last 6 years, I'm the sound engineer, both the studio and live of Septic Flesh. So we worked with Jens on the previous Septic Flesh album and on the new album of Septic Flesh as well. I know well his sound, you know, from all the bands that he worked, and in my eyes, he came up with the modern vintage sound, if I can say. So, you know, I appreciate the fact that his productions are very organic and very warm. Now, on the other hand, I am a fan of completely modern productions, you know. So I wanted to work with Jens because I wanted to have a balance between modern production and organic and warm sound, you know. So when I finished mixing, I sent him all the songs to master. He sent me back the mastering versions, and I absolutely loved them. I didn't change anything. He actually did exactly what I wanted without even telling him what to do, you know. He made the production warmer and bigger than, you know, than it was obviously from the mixing stage. And this is the work of a mastering engineer, really. Yeah. So, you know, I think that it was a very, very successful, you know, collaboration with Jens.
How would you present Inertia, you know, to the fans of the band that already know Scar of the Sun, and also to the new ones that are approaching the band maybe tonight for the first time? Would you introduce it in the same way? Which are the elements that you would focus on to convince them buy the record right away when it will be released on the 14th of May?
First of all, for the people that know Scar of the Sun and have the old albums, as you said, I think that this album will be a big surprise because of the change of the direction we have. But overall, as a music fan, I always loved songs that they are catchy and that they stick to your mind, and they are, you know, songs that make you sing them all the time, you know, and make you want to listen to them again and again. So this is exactly what we do with our music, you know, even if some songs are more complex or a bit heavier or more aggressive. What we always do is that we try to make melodies that stick to your mind and make you want to listen to them again and again and sing them. So I would have to say to fans that find out about us for the first time that if they want to listen to some songs that they will have this effect on them, they could check us out, and most probably they will find some things there that they would add to their playlist, and they would love to listen on repeat. That's what I would have to say, you know, about our music.
What's next for Scar of the Sun? Have you made any plans, or for good luck, do you prefer not to, since the situation is still a bit confused concerning, tours and when, we don't know exactly when everything will be back and start again?
First of all, we love touring, and we want to get back in playing live as soon as possible, not only because it's been a year and a half, or it's going to be more when we're going to get back on stage, but because we love doing that anyway. So we are already in discussions with our booking agent and our label in order to find tours to jump on. Most probably tours will resume towards the end of 2021 or beginning of 2022. We have nothing certain yet, but we're checking out possibilities for tours whenever they will start again. For now, the only thing we can do is do interviews and push the release of the album through our social media, and hopefully during the summer at some point we will do an online show. But we'll have to see about this a little bit later, because there are a few things that we have to sort out first. But just rest assured that the main thing we want is to tour as much as possible.
Are you already working on some new songs meanwhile, or?
Yes.
You do. I knew that. I don't know why, but I knew that. And how is it working, on new material without a tour in between? You don't have the chance to metabolize the new songs, and you have to go a step, further and go to the next one. Isn't it strange?
Well, we had the chance to play 4 songs of Inertia on our last tour in Latin America.
Okay.
Before the album was released. So in a way, we know how these songs work live.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a problem for us to check new songs out without playing live the previous songs, because up until now the band was not touring all the time. We're trying to do it, but it was a bit slower because we didn't have so much support so far. So since we cannot tour right now, we're composing songs for the next album, and hopefully in a year from now we'll enter the studio to record the next one.
Thanks, Terry, for your time. It's been very emotional also talking to you.
It was a pleasure and an honor for me. Thank you very much, and hope to see you in Italy the soonest possible.
Of course, we can't wait. So keep it up, Scar of the Sun. Thanks, Terry. See you very soon. Okay, ciao.
Ciao, grazie.